But yeah, so the few commenters I got all, hate me, so I don't care. they don't even realize, like, if they looked at the rest of my videos, they realize I'm not conservative, nor am I a Trump supporter. Like, I'm clearly, apathetic towards politics. I mean, I'm scared towards being progressive, but I'm not one of those woke progressives. I believe in, like, free speech, things that, classical liberals used to believe in, stuff like that. So, whatever.
Yeah, nobody believes in free speech.
No, there's free speech. The problem is, like, when stuff gets partisan, everyone's willing to ditch the other person's free speech. But if, like, someone who's more of a free speech absolutist like I am is going to say, well, they get to say this and they get to say that. We're not going to differentiate between, who gets to say it based on whether we like their position or not.
Over.
And that's what separates me from a lot of the identity politics progressives. And depending on if I'm disagreeing with the person that I'm talking to, they'll accuse me of being the opposite of whatever they are. So if they're liberal, I'm conservative. If they're conservative, I'm liberal, or whatever. But whatever. Like, and I wasn't endorsing Trump, nor was I telling people to vote for. Like, that's crass. I would never tell people whom to vote for, or ask them whom they're voting for. I was simply stating by the data, looking at surveys and polls, how disfavorable Biden was.
He is disfavorable. I mean, honestly, I just don't want DeSantis to win. Like, I don't care what nobody says. Anytime the Klan is supporting you, that should be a problem.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you're okay trying to tell people that being a slave was beneficial. Nah, fam. Nah, you're not getting my vote. And the only Latinos who are voting for him are those white Cubans.
Yeah, they don't count. But anyway, it's funny. And then, like, people saying, "Oh, black men aren't going to vote for Trump." There was a lot of black men who voted for him the first time around. And even when I was at the height of my anti-Trumpness back 6 years ago, 7 years ago when he was running in 2016, I still remember him saying something that was actually kind of wholesome. He was just like, he reached out to black people and just said, "Hey, if you guys want to vote for me, what do you have to lose?" And at the time I was like, yeah, that's true, but I'm not fucking with you. But I'm looking at it now like, I mean, he wasn't wrong. Because
this is why I hate police.
Because I mean, look at it, like, he gave us prison reform. Biden gave us prison. I mean, he co-authored the 1994
I get that,
the 1994
Trump
crime
didn't
bill.
really do prison reform per se. He was right for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, but still, Biden was wrong for the wrong reasons.
That is true.
He co-authored the 1994 crime bill along with white supremacist Strom Thurmond.
That is true.
So,
no, I'm not defending Biden by
so
any
all
means.
so all these people acting like I'm a sellout and anti-black need to remember that shit. People have, like, a lot of selective memory. I remember that shit. I also remember Hillary Clinton calling black men super predators at the same time.
Yeah, and black women opted that, but that's another conversation.
And yeah, and a lot of people are mad because I'm saying, yeah, black men in droves aren't voting for Biden. I'm simply stating the fact.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I'm not. I didn't say I was voting for Trump. I just said I'm categorically not voting for Biden. If that makes me not black,
I'm
all
not
right.
black then.
I'm not black. You ain't black, Jack. Okay, whatever.
But like I said, the fact that student loans didn't get fixed like he said he was going to do, which he could have done.
And not only that, he also promised free HBCU.
I knew that wasn't happening.
No, but I mean, he promised all this shit to make sure he won Georgia.
And no, I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, I knew he wasn't.
Oh, I knew he wasn't either, but at the time it was like, all right, we need some normalcy. So,
but he got Kamala, so, and he solidified the black female vote with Ketanji. So,
Yeah, and that's what they use when they try to say what he does for black people. He'll mention, I got the first female black vice president. She's not, and first of all, I'm gonna go there because
she's not black. She's
yeah,
not
yeah.
black
I was gonna, you took my point.
No, because I'm tired of everybody saying that. No, she does not count. Her dad is an immigrant from Jamaica, and her mom is Indian. Because we need to talk about this.
No, let me double down. So this, in case you guys are still unaware, this channel is called Just A Contrarian, and I'm gonna go there. These people who have been heralded as black leaders aren't even black. Obama is half white
and African,
and his father's a Kenyan immigrant. They're not black Americans. They're not the descendants of slaves or the freedmen that were talked about in historical American documents for people who should receive certain provisions. That's why they don't come to our rescue when there was arguments for reparations and stuff like that. Who we owe apology to? Clarence Thomas. As much as people hate him, he argued against affirmative action despite receiving it because he said that, one, it wasn't supposed to be done in perpetuity, and number two, it's not being doled out to the very people that it was meant to provide for, to the freedmen, the American descendants of slavery. Instead, it went to white women more than anyone else, and then outside of white women, it went to non-black people of color, and the ones who were so-called black weren't foundational black Americans. They were
immigrants.
And I love my black people in the diaspora, but they went to people of Caribbean descent, Afro-Latinos, and African immigrants. None of them are foundational black Americans. It didn't benefit us. So to take it away from us, it's not gonna hurt us because we weren't receiving it anyway.
But no, that's how we do need to talk. Because I'm tired of.
But also a byproduct of that people don't realize is that actually establishes a line for lineage-based reparations, because now we can actually delineate who are the black Americans whom are supposed to receive these benefits. So we know from the documentation that Clarence Thomas and I think Gorsuch quoted, they were talking specifically about the freedmen. So now we know, based on that, whom reparations, if they were to be given out, are supposed to go to.
Exactly. I mean,
so people owe Clarence Thomas an apology for that. And then, like I was saying, the black people, blah blah blah. Oh yeah, so yeah, I talked about Obama, and you just mentioned
Ketanji.
And
Kamala.
Kamala Harris.
The reason I mentioned Ketanji was primarily the reason I mentioned Ketanji was
I think she is black.
She's black American, but my issue with Ketanji was, I'm not saying she wasn't my issue is not her qualifications. My issue is, my personal opinion, she got there through nepotism, because and all politics is nepotism, so it is what it is. However, what I find is when people make these arguments, Biden did this for black people, like, no, her getting the Supreme Court seat didn't do anything for black people. It gave black women a false sense of accomplishment, because they're living vicariously through her, not realizing that her husband is the brother-in-law of I can't remember his name, but he sat on the committee for the Supreme Court pick. So I just found it ironic that she's related to the very person who sits on the committee that picks the Supreme Court justice.
Well, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. Cronyism is rife in politics.
Right. I'm not mad about that. My argument is when when everybody was mad at Clarence Thomas and bringing up his white wife, whole time this woman has a whole white husband. As does Kamala Harris. But they always try to bring up her bona fides about being black because she's an AKA. So the fuck what? Anybody can be an AKA. You don't have to be black to be in a black fraternity. There are white Qs. How you let massa become a Q?
One of my friends is Korean. He's an alpha. So
y'all let. I'm not gonna say that. Y'all let a rooftop Korean.
He's.
I know he's. I'm not saying he is, but I'm just saying the stupidity of it. The month of black, because this is my issue with black people. We talk always about unity and wanting to come together and got to do stuff for us, but y'all keep letting outsiders in. Stop letting them in, because I guarantee you, and again, I'm not saying your Korean film specifically, but I'm just saying in general, Lee not gonna let y'all into their spaces.
Well, I would say I think every like BGLO had like a token white or Asian person that everyone loved in their groups. But no, at least I'll say Ketanji is actually black. But I'm saying the people who are heralded as our leaders aren't really black. Kamala Harris, Obama, then you got Joanne Reed's Clinton shilling ass on MSNBC talking bullshit. That bitch is from the Congo, or her parents are. She's not black American. So surprise, surprise, Africans and Jamaicans don't care if black Americans get reparations.
That's true, and that's the one thing I do dislike, is how they always want to chime in on it. Like, go as
Obama didn't meet the black community until he moved to Chicago. He spent his entire life in Hawaii and part of it in Indonesia, because his mom married an Indonesian woman. Then went to Occidental College, where he dated nothing but white women. Then finished his undergrad in Columbia and met Michelle years later in Chicago, when he became a community activist, when he actually had touch with actual black people. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's true. He's not black. He doesn't have the black experience. And I think a lot we don't, as much as people want to say the black experience is not needed, it is needed. Because if you never had to experience racism in America, you can't relate. Like, it's no way me and you could have done everything Obama did. We could have went to Columbia. We could have did all those things. Neither one of our black asses would ever be accepted as running for president.
And another thing, if he had got caught doing the illicit stuff that he was doing in his teenage years, he'd have been just another nigga.
Pretty much.
I mean, he admitted to smoking weed and once or twice doing coke. This is in his autobiography, so don't act like I'm defaming him. This is in his own autobiography. But yeah, he would have been just another nigga. Sorry. But at least, and like I said, I'm not endorsing any politician. When I was talking about Trump is probably going to be president, I was looking at the data. Now, I might favor Cornel West. Who knows? Like I said, I'm not going to say whom I'm voting for. I think that's crass. But looking at Cornel West, he's actually a black American. He's a public intellectual, a real public intellectual, not a pseudo public intellectual like some of these people whom I won't name right now.
Yes, bro.
Well, and he's what Plato called a philosopher king. He has a PhD in philosophy. He was mentored by Richard Rorty, who started neo-pragmatism, which I'm not going to get into all that right now, but he has his bona fides in philosophy. Plato once argued that society won't prosper until we have a kings that are philosophers and philosophers who are kings. He would qualify for that. And Plato also kind of predicted the downfall of democracy, which is why I'm so politically apathetic right now, because voting almost seems like a sham, because whomever you're voting for, we still have a plutocracy running the government. If you don't know what that is, look it up. But in any case, I'm out, guys. But just because I'm wearing a red hat, this is actually for University of Maryland. I just thought it was funny to wear it while I'm talking about Trump, to see how many people pay attention. But I'm not endorsing him, and I'm not telling you to vote for him. I'm just saying he'll probably win based on what's currently going on, unless he gets locked up. And the likelihood of a billionaire former president being locked up is pretty poor. Not to mention, you've literally had people run for presidency from the jail. Know your history. But I'm just a contrarian.